instant gratification, right? We live in a time of highly technological developments. Everything has to go faster, and we want it here, we want it now, and we want that dopamine shot, and we want to feel good, and it's like, you have to please me, and you make me feel bad, and wow, what a crazy time do we live in anyways, right?
What crazy expectations to put on someone, but also to have put on yourself. You know, I think of that. Gosh, you know, so many of us in this generation, you know, whether it was maybe not the generation before us, but the one before us, our grandparents' generation, they're the ones that went off to war, and these couples were married and they didn't hear from each other for months. Sometimes years, literally didn't know if they were in peril, did not know if maybe their life had been taken from them. And so talk about no instant gratification, talk about that really being a promise and a commitment, where today I think we all can laugh and smile with each other that there is so many disagreements and arguments over the fact of when your spouse doesn't text you back right away.
Yeah.
You know, or how dare him, or he didn't like the video I just put up, or
right.
You know,
or just the fact that I have to wait 10 seconds for my phone to make connection, and it's taking longer than I want, and I want to smack the device into the wall, and we want it now, faster, here, now.
And we're the first to support social media. We're actually talking to you right now through a means of social media. So there is, of course, positive, but I think, again, we're talking about marriage and how it's been very much, we can declare, redefined in the 21st century. And these are some things we need to look out for, because so many of us, you know, us included, maybe you watching, still want marriage, still believe in marriage. So it's something to think about, though, that our culture is really set up against us. It's especially when it comes to marriage, because anyone who's been married that's watching, or maybe you're considering marriage, maybe you're single and you're curious, what is marriage all about? What can I expect? Well, you can expect some hard sharpening moments. What I mean is to refer to the Proverbs, right, as iron sharpening iron, just meaning you're going to rub up against each other. And that's where, when you look back at how marriage is no longer a promise and it's just a contract, that is why it makes it so much harder, I think, for people to stay together, because that instant gratification that they're looking for is so often in marriage just non-existent.
And when we're living in this 21st century right now, nowadays, 2022, we spend our time, so much time of our day on our mobile devices.
Yeah, you said it was like,
An average person is like 8 hours a day active on their
phone.
Sounds
ludicrous.
It's like a third of your
but I'm curious.
A third of your life. It's maybe more than you sleep nowadays.
Yeah.
But we cannot forget that these apps on our phone, they are designed to keep us going back there, right? They have like all these psychological hacks into their design, so that we go to them more and more. And every time when someone likes a post, or when someone responds, or get a comment, or get a view, we kind of feel better. We get this dopamine hit.
Yes.
And our brains during 8 hours a day are being hit. Dopamine. But supposedly there's also this thing that goes on in our brains on a chemical level, that when our brains are being bombarded with dopamine, they need an equal amount of downtime so that they can maintain that equilibrium. And oftentimes when we do have that downtime from our device, from social, from our apps, from those dopamines, is when we are together with our spouse, right? Either we're on our phones together, but then we're kind of growing apart, we're distracted, we're not together.
Fully engaged,
Or when we're together, we're kind of like going through withdrawals on a chemical level. I find it fascinating, all these things that are going on that we are not always aware of, that we're not even conscious of like, what is even happening? What are these things, these devices doing to me on a subconscious level? And then when I'm with my partner, probably not the first week or the first year, or after the honeymoon phase, maybe a couple of years into marriage, oh, this is like boring. I don't get these dopamine hits. You cannot keep on providing these highs for me. You don't make me happy anymore. And it's time for me to open that back door and go into the world and look for more
hits
of those
almost
highs.
Yeah.
Because when I look on my devices and I see everybody else is happily married and everybody else is romantic and everybody else is...
Yes.
It's that comparison, right? The comparison that social media could lead to there.
Yes. Comparison is a thief of all joy, and I think we can see that why. So.
Did I explain that in a comprehensive manner?
I believe so, but we want to hear what you guys thought. So truly let us know if you felt like Kim was explaining it well. But at the end of the day, right? So it's like, what does all this mean for marriage in the 21st century? And I think we both as a married couple can say that it's definitely going to require a lot of intentionality and a lot of patience, meaning that knowing that all these things are set up against you, knowing that marriage is now maybe everyone around you believes that it's just a contract. Maybe there's going to be people speaking, I call it death, over your marriage, meaning divorce. There could be people that would easily put that out there in your thoughts, in your mind. If not them, it's the billboards, right? If you're in the US. Also, we're set up to be, honestly, I feel like as much as we want instant gratification, we're almost set up to instantly be dissatisfied in our marriages nowadays. So you need to surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you and are going to inspire you and listen to you when it comes to what you want from your marriage.
When we pull all these three things together, it does feel to me like the institution of marriage is under attack.
Yeah.
It's like, what do we know about marriage? How do we go into this marriage?
Yeah.
How are we prepared for those rougher times that will, sooner or later, they will arise?
Yeah.
They will arrive.
It's not enough.
And then what do we do? Can we then be patient? Can we be persistent, forgiving, grateful? Because every time I open my phone and I look on what I can see on the internet, it could easily pull me away from what we have and what we are building, what we are doing together. And that's only talking about that those devices. There are so many more distractions that
truly are.
When you have kids, when we have careers, when we have obligations and social life, and there's just so much. Life has become so complicated, so complex nowadays.
Yeah, but we don't want to leave you guys feeling in despair because you're not alone, of course.
Is it a fact?
Yeah. I think whether or not we want to agree with it, we have to look at what society, right? What are stereotypes out there? And sometimes Kim and I get in these discussions and he's so quick and easy to say, well, here in Europe, well, here. And I'm like, yeah, but America's not too far off. I think it's just sweeping across the Western world, to be honest. These three main points that we see affecting marriage in the 21st century, it is becoming more of the norm instead of the exception.
And especially when we look at shows on TV like Stranger Things, or we see things that are happening in the 90s, old movies when there were no cell phones, and I'm not blaming cell phones, but life seemed so much easier, so much simpler, right?
Well, and now that you know, now that we've shared with you with our research and with even some of our own thoughts where the state of marriage is in the 21st century, we want to hear from you. What are some of your biggest challenges or struggles or even frustrations with the state of marriage in the 21st century? And ultimately, we want to know, what does marriage mean to you? There's no right or wrong answer. All we want to know is your heart, is your answer. If you would put it in the comments below. And we also have created something just for you and your spouse. We want to help each of you grow in your marriage, want to help your intimacy develop. So we'd love for you to look in the notes below. We're going to post our brand new intimacy quiz where you can discover where is the state of your intimacy in your marriage right now, and how can you grow that intimacy in the future between the two of you.
Well said. Could not have said it any better.
I'm sure you could have tried. You could have tried.
Could have tried. Awesome. See you guys next time.
Bye, guys.